Yo, how's it going, folks? We are extremely late today. I had insane PC problems. So, yeah, not been a great day in terms of just things going wrong, but we made it. How's it going, Steve? Bullets, Ghosty Gaming. How are we doing? How has everyone's week been? I think my blood pressure's gone up by like 500% over the last hour. But outside of that, it's been good. Man, Ghosty would be jealous. He wanted to see me rage. He missed my face turning into a nuclear. Well, I should have finished that sentence. Oh, mate, if you saw how much I was screaming at my PC for not doing basic things, you would have been impressed. You would have been impressed, is all I'm saying. Simple things, man, like open an app. And it was like, nah, we don't do this thing here. We don't, we're not that sort of PC here. We don't open apps. Or like Adobe Premiere. Hey, we've decided to make things easier. Instead of you having to press one click to do what you want, you now have to do a combination of 40 different things to achieve the same thing that one click did. This is to make things more linear and more streamlined. Is it true Xbox makes better port for PlayStation? I assume it's going to run. Hey, I've got chest pains from how much I was raging. I would assume the PS5 Pro will probably run it better. Not the base PS5 though. The PS5 Pro is just a more powerful machine, right? I guess we should start with the Halo stuff before we move on to other things. All right, so first of all, like I said, I am sorry for being late. I had severe technical issues with PC, Adobe, and everything else. Not even AI was working for me. So, I had to go old school with a bunch of stuff, including my foot through my monitor. But, we won't get to that last part. But my rage obviously started off quite earlier. My rage wasn't actually solely fueled, and as the missus is looking at me, wondering whether she should get the frying pan and whack it across my head to knock me out until morning to get this rage and frustration within me passing through. My annoyance and frustration actually started at 4 p.m. because there's a reason why my rage and frustration started at 4 p.m. It's because you have the wonderful and amazing Halo not working. See, for the longest time, folks, when you buy the premium upgrade edition, you get access to early access. And so many people, like I've seen on Twitter and on Reddit today, thought the same thing. But oh no, Microsoft decided that they're going to change up the game. What they're going to do is remove that early access from the 5 days, not communicate that perfectly with everyone else, get everyone to buy it, and then have everyone outraging on social media that they can't get it, and then turn around and try to cover it up by saying, oh, we're investigating reports that some players on Xbox consoles and the Xbox PC who purchased premium edition or upgrade edition are unable to access the game. No, they made it so you can't actually access it with the premium upgrade edition. You can only access it if you buy the premium edition. That's it. But they kept that quiet, and now they're trying to kind of cover their tracks. That is as scummy as you can get. That's all I'm saying. That was scummy. That was BS bullshit scummy. I don't care what anyone says. Yeah, the premium edition works. It's the upgrade premium edition that doesn't work. So, the premium edition on Xbox, I did a bit of research and found out that that thing that they've added, that digital viewer that you can use that they give you, that's really cool, by the way. Not that I've actually used it. I decided to check it out because I actually got a refund on my purchase and my money is now with me. And Halo Studios can, you know, go suck one. If they don't want my money, they're not going to get my money. It's really that simple. But the premium edition comes with a digital art book viewer, which launches like a game. And the thing is, the Xbox app can't differentiate between the two. So every time you try to boot the premium edition of the game, it's actually reverting and defaulting to the art book. See, on Steam, you can actually choose not to install that and not have that. And so, with that in mind, you can just not install it and not have it. I don't know if that's available on the Xbox app. I usually just click next, 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 and off you go. But in my case, with the premium upgrade edition, it didn't really matter. As long as you don't install that, it works. Now, if you do install that, then you're running into a bit of a pickle. You'll have to uninstall and then reinstall without that artbook viewer. However, if you did get the premium upgrade edition, like hundreds and hundreds and thousands of people did, because why not? Well, you were greeted at 4 p.m. with a big FU. Mate, Steam can access it. Everyone else can access it. It's only Xbox that can't access it. What Azure are you talking about? Yeah, they Recathon, they fixed it because of the backlash. But good luck to them, man. I'll just wait until Tuesday. They don't deserve my money. They had my money until 4 p.m. 4 p.m. they lost it. Good luck to them. But yeah, so good luck to their launch. I mean, they had weeks, months to make sure this was right. Once again, like once again, like their previous Halo, they screwed it up yet again. I will do me. Oh, it shouldn't have been an issue to begin with. I mean, today is day one, right? The game launches today. I mean, I know the official launch date is in 5 days, but this is how Microsoft is going to monetize their games, and that's fair enough. If this means that people can get it, a week later on Game Pass and still have Game Pass going, and if this is what will save day and date on Game Pass, happy days, right? Nothing wrong with that. Yo, Infinite, it might be working by now. I don't know. I refunded mine and I'm done. I'm good with it. Yo, Soul, thank you for the 5 gifted subs, dude. Talos, Seth, Onion, Darren, and Gaming all received subs, memberships. Thank you so much, dude. I appreciate it. I'll have a look at it now. No, what I actually ended up doing, because I couldn't jump into Halo, right? What I couldn't do was I actually jumped into Conker's Live and Reload. And I don't think I've actually played that before. That game is amazing. I was playing it through the OG Xbox backwards compatibility that they, released yesterday. Man, that is awesome. Graphically, the upscaled resolution looks amazing, but that game, there is no way that they could release a game like that in today's day and age. Actually referring to someone as a fat ass biatch. That game actually, is that was rare at its true, peak. If you haven't played it, I recommend it, man. Check it out. I'm doing that right now. Oh, so it looks like if we view all platforms, PC got a 76. Interesting. PlayStation 5 got an 81 and Xbox got an 84. Not bad. I know what is it? One of the PlayStation websites reviewed it really badly, right? Jill Shockers gave it 65. Oof. Halo Campaign Evolved brings back one of the coolest FPS experiences of all time. And it looks better than ever. Unfortunately, some PS5 specific headaches and bad performance issues, Raichi, there's your answer, are currently holding it back in major ways. At least half the missions are on base PS5 have awful frame rate issues. And the always online required linking of your PSN account to your Microsoft account to your Xbox gamer tag, jeez, wow, can lead to some truly migraine inducing outcomes. I'm desperately hoping this is all ironed out ASAP because this game will be a blast someday once it's all squared away. Until then, PS5 owners should be cautious. Hey, Clark, how's it going? There was an Xbox outage earlier today. I mean, everything else works on Xbox. Remind me, what's the free tier of Thou Who Shall Not Be Named? Uh, it's a 1 hour service. You can play it for 1 hour, and then you got to reconnect. And there's a pretty decent queue to get in as well. Let's see. Yeah, I saw his. I saw some snippets of that video yesterday. Devastator. Fans realize PlayStation is dead from DCG. He was very upset in that video. As for the Backlash one, yeah, I know he's a bit pissed off in that one. Sony's got a gagging order out for everyone in that. They're not allowed to say anything. Uh, my kid upstairs uses it over Wi-Fi, and he has no problem. Like none at all. As long as your Wi-Fi is stable, you got good connection. I use it over wired, but like when I'm using it on my Xbox LIX, it's perfect. No issues. Which I guess is still over the cloud, right? Hopefully that gives some form of idea for you. Wasn't working at 4 o'clock, dude, and it wasn't working until the backlash started. Well, there goes my Ubisoft account logged out again. I can't even be bothered. If they're gonna steal it, let them steal it. At this point, I don't care anymore. Let's have a look. Yeah, that was the topic I was starting with at the beginning, but people wanted to go straight to Halo. So yeah, I'm happy Halo has the backlash has worked because there was a lot of backlash on Reddit about this, where premium users couldn't get access or premium upgrade users couldn't get access. So they were hot on that to get it working. It's amazing how no QA was done in order to get it working, but you know it's good for those that are accessing. I hope you enjoy the game. I'm just gonna wait until next week Tuesday. I'll stream it next week Tuesday. I think I've made that. I'm gonna make up that decision and go with that. I just got a warning from Xbox for a day restricted options because I made a screenshot of a naked elf from Witcher 3 this afternoon, which was upset. Yeah, you got to be careful with that. Even if it's in game, you got to be careful because if it gets uploaded to the network, you can actually get banned. Someone with Baldur's Gate 3 actually got banned for it. They uploaded the image and off it went. Hey, Big Bad Mo. So yeah, you got to be real careful with that, man, because if you're not, you can actually get banned. It's really crazy because back if you go back to the 360 days, man, those lobbies were insane. You could say and do what you want. It added all to the banter for the most part, but it was crazy. Just everyone screaming and shouting and ah, the shit festing was all over the place. Today, if you say hello, but you say in a weird way, like hello, you can get reported and lose your account. So I've just permanently gone off mic now on Xbox Live. I don't talk to anyone just because I don't want to get banned. Because it looks like Xbox's moderators that look at stuff, the ones that they hired, are trigger happy with anything. I'm guessing they get rewarded for how many people they actually ban. So they're just banning anyone and everyone. So I'd rather not take that risk anymore, which is a shame because one of the biggest features of Xbox, especially during the 360 days, was the community. But with all these strict and stringent rules that they've added, they've actually killed that community part of Xbox, which is what made them. Hey, shut up, bullets. Hey, Slaver, 5 hours later, it's fine. It wasn't fine 5 hours ago. In fact, it wasn't fine 4 hours ago. And no, seriously though, anyone that's playing Halo, I hope you enjoy it. It's gonna be a good game. It's gonna bring back a lot of nostalgic memories. You know, I hope you genuinely enjoy it. It just left a bitter taste for me when I couldn't access it today. So I got my refund. It's fine. They don't want my money. I will wait until Tuesday and play it on Tuesday as part of my Game Pass subscription. At least that way I can jump into other games until then. Sounds like a traffic warden. Dude, I used to work for CCTV. And yeah, you have a quota of giving out. Well, back then we had a quota of giving out. I think it was 30 tickets an hour that we had to do. Otherwise, you lose your job. Big Mad, I'm streaming over at Twitch, right? So originally that was the plan that I was going to wait until Tuesday, but because I'm trying to grow my Twitch channel and Halo's a new release, it's got early access. I was, you know, despite being reluctant, I wanted to pay for it so I could gain access to it. And traditionally, when you pay $20 or $30 for the upgrade edition, because I want to get it physically, I want to get the physical version of Halo. I know there's not anything on the disc, but I've got all the Halos physical. That's the only one I'm missing. So I just wanted to add to my collection. So I said I was going to get the digital upgrade. It'll be a good like thing for my Twitch channel. Hopefully, I'll get a few followers from it. You know, even if I got like 3 or 5 followers, that would have been a bonus. So it's more a business decision that I decided to buy it to try and push and promote my Twitch channels, so we can just get more followers and gain more traction and get more viewers over there. And yeah, that failed historically. Instead, we ended up playing Conquer Live and Reload, and I think I haven't checked the metrics, but from the numbers that I was seeing, I think we had our highest viewer concurrent yet over there with a Conquer of all games. So it just goes to show. Sometimes it just random games will draw them in. It's a very good game. So that was my reasoning for actually picking it up. But it didn't quite work out. And since it didn't work out, I just decided I'll wait until Tuesday now. I know Chaos as well as my dad was one for a very short time. Yeah, it's not great. It sounds unethical. I know it does, but you still got to do it. The thing is, there's certain hotspots where people just constantly get tickets because they're silly. You know, uh, yellow box junctions are especially great in the mornings. So you're kind of it's not difficult to get 30 tickets a day, but yeah, it isn't nice. I guess so, Big Mad, but not at the time when I was raging like there's no tomorrow. If I paid for something, I expect to access it. But on the back of the news about Xbox OG games going onto PC, which in my opinion is great, and I know a lot of people are downplaying it and seeing it as a nothing burger or as another step towards Xbox diluting itself and diminishing its appeal. I think it's perfect, personally, a great thing that they're pushing these OG Xbox and 360 games over to PC. I mean, I actually utilized it today, and we had a lot of fun with Conquer, for example. On the back of that great news, which I still believe today is actually phenomenal news, uh, they've announced today that Xbox will begin a public test that enables Xbox insiders to stream select games from their library. Now, I'm an Xbox insider, but I also have Game Pass Ultimate, so I can't fully test to see how this ad version works. So if any of you are actually insiders and don't have Game Pass Ultimate, I'd love to see what, if you love to hear your thoughts on this or opinions on how this actually works. Hey, sup PS5 blows? Yeah, that's the version that I got, Talos, and it wasn't working, so I just refunded it. And you know what? Xbox refunded it instantly, no questions asked. Everyone that says that Xbox has a bad refund policy, I haven't actually had a single refund not refunded to me yet. I'd rather pay more money for things not to have ads. Well, you can through Game Pass Ultimate. The news to make their fan base think Xbox make us. Dude, it's a free tier. It's no different to GeForce Now. GeForce Now does the same thing. I don't know if Boosteroid does the same thing. I don't know if they actually have a free tier. I don't think they have. But if you're going to offer a free tier, no one's going to let you use it for free. They're going to do something to monetize it in order to get some revenue. And an ad before the game boots up is probably the easiest thing you can do. Yeah, they refunded fast PS5 blows. They weren't even messing. Oh, they do? Okay. Uh, oh, yes, you're right. Since the new change, they do. So I guess it's just for people that don't have Xbox. Are there actually people out there that have an Xbox that don't have any form of Game Pass? I found that hard to believe. It's the Xbox tax, Navy. It's the Xbox tax. Hey, Chili. I mean, ratings wise, Steve, it's doing well. Or I should say Hunter because we have another Steve in here already. But it's the review wise, it's doing relatively well, right? So I think they're quite safe. An 84 on Metacritic is exactly the type of score that they want. I'm sure they would have preferred a 90, don't get me wrong. But let's face it, no matter how much they try to modernize the original Halo, it is still the original Halo at the core. So it's still going to have, they're not changing the story, they're not changing the level structures, more or less. Nothing is really changing outside of aesthetic and some quality of life features. And sure, the original for its time got a crazy, I think, 97 score, but that was for its time. Now you kind of have to innovate to get to that sort of thing. And I don't think that's what they really did here. They just wanted to get, well, I mean, the idea was to get people to play it so they could get into the Halo franchise. And so, you know, it is what it is. You're cutting off gamepads, so you're going keyboard and mouse? Man, my bottle of drink isn't available. You're on the train to Manchester Airport, Chile? That means you're on your way to a FanFest in Alemania. Is this Halo? They really have more PlayStation reviews of Halo than. Yeah, they do. 42 critic reviews on PS5, only 22 on Xbox. I will have you know that I did not receive a review code, and that is why I want to thank Xbox for that. I'm told almost no one in the UK or Europe received the code. I think the CMA scarred Microsoft for life. Yo, Grey Fox, I appreciate the £2, €2. Some support and thank you. Greets from Amsterdam. Hey, my kid is actually not far from there. I'm not sure exactly where in the Netherlands he is right now. He's gone to see his fiance, but he's out and about there. I think it's about a 3-hour drive from the Amsterdam airport down south. I told Philip to tell Asher not to send it. I know, man. I know. I know it was you. I know it was you. I know. I know these things. Even in your current state, I know what you're capable of. You don't need to remind me. I've seen the receipts. Rich people hanging out with rich people, man. Rich people do rich things. Yeah, pretty much would Pit. But yeah, so it reads stream select games from their library at no added cost and with no subscription required through a new ad supported option. Now, I do suspect that at some point down the line, they're going to follow the GeForce Now model by having a free tier and intermediary tier. So you're going to have the free tier, which is Series S. You're going to have the paid tier at intermediary, which is going to be the Series S again, but with no ads. And I do believe they're going to work up to having the Series X with no ads, and that's going to be the premium tier. So I think that's where they're working towards. It's the only logical thing that makes sense to me. Let me know what you think of it, Ghosty. You see, boys, another converted soul. What can I say? Hey man, it's not my fault. My boot, you should get the boot. Here's a negative factor in the new Xbox leadership. I agree, man. I agree. Guys, like, I don't know what it is. I mean, if you try it now, Ghosty, you can tell us live what you think of it. It's not like there's anything to download. Chaos is an Nvidia show? No, 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 no. If you heard me today, I was actually taking the piss out of Nvidia because of what they did with the OG Xbox games. So the OG Xbox games, the 4 games that you have access to right now over on PC, they're running on the Xbox 360 emulator that basically emulates the OG Xbox games. It's basically the same emulator, right? Excuse me. Um, and so AMD, for example, when you go through their FMF profile, that picks up the OG Xbox games and it allows smoother frames to run through. Nvidia can't do that because it targets the emulator instead of the executable. So you need to use NVIDIA Inspector, which then gets a little more complicated, and you have to dig through there and enable a few settings that will basically enable it. So it's not plug and play. So I was criticizing NVIDIA for that today. So yeah, I'm not an NVIDIA shill. I do think their graphics cards are better though, but you're also paying a premium price for it. See my DMs? Oof. Keep carrying, man. Keep carrying. So they say, as we experiment, we want to be clear about the principles we hold for ad-supported experiences. We start with the player. Ads should create value. All right, I'm going to be honest with you, chat. Be honest. When has an ad ever created value? In fact, has ads ever created value for you? How does Aaron Greenberg still have a job? I mean, he's got to be doing something right, right? I think you'll also find, Grey Fox, these people have multiple jobs rather than uh just one. It's not just a single role that they do. So even though they've got a specific job title, usually they're doing like multiple other things. Like for example, uh towards the last 6 months of where I used to work, I was a senior QA tester. But I was also a Google. I had to train myself and do Google Analytics, GA4 auditing as well. But that was never like kind of recorded on my responsibilities. And then I had to start doing some PM, like assisting with certain like light PM work as well, helping the project managers. So you're usually doing more than what your job title says, at least in today's day and age. So even if it's not one thing specific, they're probably being useful around enough to warrant their job. I don't know. I think Phil cared too. Phil was a gamer, right? And I think that's what is the difference between Phil Spencer and Asher Sharma. Asher Sharma isn't a gamer. Phil Spencer was. So Phil Spencer sympathized with the studios, the gamers, and he wanted, the best games, and he wanted to let the creatives do what they do best. Now, I'm going to be real with you. I've worked with creatives for 15 years. They're all a bunch of wanks, and they will run wild if you don't hold them in check. If there's any creatives in chat, I apologize, but you know what I'm saying is true. You guys are mental. You will try and create the world's craziest designs, burn the budget in 2 days, and then would say, right, our job here is done. Developers, you've got like 2% of the budget left. Good luck. I know that's what you do because I've seen it for 15 years. So there's nothing new there. But Phil was a gamer. And so he wanted to make sure that these studios and developers had the best environment for it. Asher, on the other hand, is all business. She may dabble into games here and there and she may check things out, but she is business and she will put business first. And do you know who else was business? Jim Ryan. And he successfully ran PlayStation for the longest time until he made the mistake of going live service and then got drop kicked John Cena straight out the building. But up until that mistake that he made, he was actually doing a really good job at PlayStation. Asha Sharma is pretty much the same thing. She may dabble in a game here and there, but she's all business and she will weigh things based on business and what's best for Xbox. And she will not care about people's tears or crying. It is just what it is. If ads had girls in bikinis, it wouldn't bother. PS5 blows. I actually enjoyed Redfall. I played it multiplayer personally with friends, but I really enjoyed it. They did. They abused Phil's good nature. They did. There's no two ways about it. South of Midnight costing 100 million. Come on. Come on. Let's be real here. Come on. There wasn't 100 million worth in that game. Having ads is an L. I mean, it's a free service. What did you want them to do? How would you monetize it, Hunter? It's a free service. How would you monetize it? Because those servers cost money to run. So how would you monetize it? Because you have to monetize it. Everything needs to have a monetization in order for it to be worthwhile. Nothing comes for free in life. So what would you have done? I mean, don't get me wrong. I think ads suck. Ads are crap. I'm with everyone else on this one. I'm not even trying to defend ads. I think ads suck. And that is why I asked the question: has anyone ever had value added via ads? Well, as we saw, Talos wouldn't mind it if there's waifus on there. Raichi wouldn't mind it if he started seeing ZZZ waifus on there. So, I can understand that. I can get behind that. But otherwise, I don't really see anyone having any real value from ads. So I don't really understand that statement. I think that should have just not been there. Hey, I don't even make any money. What are you talking about? You know what? I didn't even check the lottery. I played the lottery and I didn't check it. I play it and then I expect to lose, so I don't check. Man, a few weeks ago, I got a message saying, "Hey, you've won," and I got so excited, and I ended up winning $2. I was like, "Asshole." That is true, Garlic. I think Byron told me that earlier today as well. Oh, nice. I'll check it out. Man, even Amazon Prime has ads on movies, and it's irritating considering how much I pay for Amazon Prime. It's a free service. Why are people still complaining? Something that's free just because you need to watch some ads. I'm not complaining, Vince. Come on, I'm not complaining. Everybody loved Matt Booty before he did something they don't like, but it's funny they were worshiping him. Even man, I haven't worshipped that guy at all. The only thing that I will say that he said that was correct, that Xbox decided not to act on, is the fact that is when he said Xbox could outspend Sony, spend Sony out of business. They could have done that quite easily. They could have wiped Sony off the map. They chose not to. Instead, they chose to buy ABK. Like I said, his push for live service was terrible, but everything before the live service, I mean, he built PlayStation quite well. Test your fingers. Test your. Uh, Now, chat. What do you think of my new custom background? Actually, that's mirrored. So let's see if we can fix that. Come on. There you go. I was thinking of adding a bit more of a red glow around the top over here, but I don't know. I thought that looked nice enough as it is, not to thing. Oi, oi. So you take that back. You take that back. God damn it. Also, how's it going, Drake? Welcome to the stream. They said we do not interrupt the flow of gameplay. So, in terms of ads, you will never see the ads in game. In between gaming, you'll never be interrupted while you're on the pause screen or anything like that for an ad. I appreciate it, Clark. Just trying to make it better. We hold ads to the same quality bar as our content. I wasn't sure how to react to this one. I don't even know. I don't want to be that guy, but I kind of have to be that guy with some of the games that they've released, right? In terms of quality. So, are we talking about Forza Horizon 6 quality? Or are we talking about Redfall quality? PlayStation is in all sorts of trouble, right? PlayStation is in all sorts. Let me show you something that I actually I think it might have been Bruno that sent me this. This is actually I think it was Bruno that sent me this. Let me just have a quick look. Because I thought this was actually quite crazy. Yeah, it was. So let me just play this for you guys because this is insane. I don't know if it's true or not, and I've tried to ask around and ask people if there's any validity to this, but I've not really been able to get any information on this at all. So maybe someone in chat can possibly you know confirm this. But here we go.
PlayStation just kicked the hornet's nest and kickstarted what may end up being one of the biggest gaming scandals of 2026. Let me tell you about it. Late yesterday, they issued an update to how the PlayStation Network handles digitally purchased games. You see, what it used to be is that if you bought a game digitally, you could have it on your console and then play it, even if you lost internet connectivity for an extended period of time, which is what I would expect to happen. If I buy a game, it's installed on my console. Even if my console is powered off for a month, I should still have that game on my console playable, right? But after this latest update, a bunch of tech-savvy people on Twitter tried experimenting with what these updates changed and found out that actually now, if you purchase a game digitally from here on out, if you have your console disconnected from the internet for 30 days, it will no longer consider your license, quote unquote, to that game active or legitimate until it reconnects to their servers and verifies that the licenses are legitimate. In other words, if I were to buy a game today digitally on my PlayStation 5, and then I disconnected my console from the internet, once 30 days have passed, I will no longer be able to boot that game, access it, play it, even if it's installed on my console, because the license is considered expired if it goes past that 30-day mark. This is a nightmare when it comes to game preservation. I mean, for example, PT, which was a playable teaser for a Silent Hill game that never ended up actually being made, it was released back in 2014, and people installed it on the PlayStation 4s that they had at the time. And to this day, you can buy PlayStation 4s with PT installed on it, since you can no longer download it from the PlayStation Store. However, even though that's over a decade
I do miss PT. That was such a scary game, man.
Old. It's been a decade since it was installed. You can still play PT on those consoles. It's effectively preserved it. But under this new update, it would be erased after a month, never to be touched again. But let me know in the comments.
I don't know if that's still true or what. This was sent to me by Bruno. Interesting stuff, though. I did look for a date on this video. I couldn't see when it was posted. It could be old news. It could be something else. I don't know. You deleted PT? How dare you? Man, if your PS4 had PT right now, it'd be worth like $1,000. It'd be worth $1,000. Sadly, I deleted it too. I still think PlayStation will go silent, all the gamers, and go through with. They are Mandalorian, 100%. They're not pulling back from this, and you're already seeing people already giving up anyway. So Sony's gonna get what they want. They're just gonna stay silent and they're just gonna ride it through. Like everything else, there's a backlash to it, but eventually people give up. It's just human nature. Yeah, I deleted mine because I sent the console, my PS4 Pro, to someone else whose PS4 broke, and at the time I bought a PS5, the base one, so I sent it to them as a gift, but I had to obviously clear the hard drive and format everything, and yeah, it was sad. I think there might have been a way to back it up, but I didn't realize that until after I hit the format keep button. It says we're clear about what is an ad. I mean, an ad's an ad, right? What's the difference? We make sure ads fit what players expect on each platform. So I guess they'll be doing just Xbox ads going forward on Microsoft ads. Right, so posting on the internet and getting social movement is fine, but Sony has made it clear they're just going to ignore it. Because it's free, Mandalorian. It's not a paid for service. If you're paying, then there are no ads. If you're on Essentials, Premium, or Ultimate, there is no ads. But if you're using the completely and utterly free tier, for those people that are not using any of the free Game Pass options, then you get an ad. That's fair. Like, I wasn't sure if it was. I didn't make any videos on it or anything like that because I genuinely wasn't sure. So I did put a feeler out on social media, if it was true or not. I had one or two PlayStation fanboys immediately chime in and start being silly, but I never got a straight answer. But because I wasn't sure if it was real or not, I didn't cover it, which is why I kind of played it here to ask, does anyone know if this is real or not? Because I don't know. I know there's a lot of talk about PlayStation digital stuff at the moment, so people could be making it up, which is why I didn't jump on the bandwagon of immediately making a video on it or something and then looking silly. I made that mistake once, maybe twice. I don't want to make it a third time. I'd rather make sure my information is a little more accurate than zero and then make a video and look stupid about it. Remind me which company started putting ads in their paid tier? Amazon. Amazon's put ads in their paid tier on certain things. Apparently, it's already fixed, Mandalorian. So nothing to worry about there. I've already got my refund. I'm just not going to buy it again. I'm just going to wait until the 5th and play it then. It's fine. I did finish Resident Evil 2 on both playthroughs. Good game. I did find it a little weird in terms of doing the same thing with both characters. It kind of broke immersion a little bit, somewhat. I don't know. It was odd, but otherwise it was good. Yeah, but even then, I don't think I actually covered it anyway because I wasn't sure. I think they were still trying to find the information for it. So I have Ultimate and I don't get the ads. Yeah, you won't get ads. It's only on the free tier. Look, it says today the public test enables insiders who access their games from their library at no added cost with no subscription required. So it's only for those people that don't have a Game Pass subscription at all that want to play cloud gaming. if they buy a game from the Xbox store, they can play it on the cloud. Now, my question for this is it any game that they buy, or is it only the ones that are cloud enabled that they buy that will work? I'm not 100% sure with that one. What's wrong with Resident Evil? Uh, Filthy Fez, I think it's both hilarious and awful at the same time. The fact that they waited until the last minute to say it's being delayed on Xbox is just silly. But at the same time, we're seeing this time and time again. And did they actually give any reason as to why the Xbox version was being delayed? I heard it was delayed 12 hours before, but did they give any reason as to why it was delayed? They said back end issues. I mean, that's fair. If it's back end issues, then that means it's probably related to the Xbox side of things. I'm guessing they couldn't get the handshake working with the Xbox servers. The closed beta, for example, wouldn't have as many restrictions and requirements as the final release. It's a lot more lax and loose in terms of access. So I'm guessing once everything else got enabled, it may have caused a problem. That, or they've just decided that they want to maximize one section over the other. So apparently, those from the UK were able to access Halo around 5 hours after the initial uh, launch. It's not saying if they were able to access it with premium upgrade or just premium, but it looks like it's fixed for everyone now. The Resident Evil 2 wasn't like that at all. You just had zombies that wouldn't die. You know, you shoot them 10 times in the head, and they're like, still coming at you. And then you had the most annoying mechanic on the planet in Mr. X. I swear to God, Mr. X can go do one. I hate Mr. X. The most annoying ever feature to be present in a video game ever. I don't think there is a more annoying character in video game history. I really despise Mr. X. I guess. There's supposed to be a patch for Halo during the release on the 27th, so the game can be fixed on release date. Well, yeah, in early access, you don't get the patch. The patch generally releases on day of release. That's the that's the trade-off for getting early access. They're usually working on these patches up until the 11th hour, and then they push them out. Mr. X is why you never finished the game. I knew it. I told you. I told you guys watching that he was so annoying. Dude, I almost rage quit so many times because of that guy. He was just appearing out of nowhere. I swear to God, he was like face shifting and teleporting from one end of the building to the other. That was annoying, man. But we do have this anyway, continuing on with the actual thing. This article stays more or less the same. It just goes in, and I thought this bit here was really interesting. In fact, before I continue with this chat, give me a minute. I'm going to go get a drink because I'm really, really thirsty, and I'm going to be right back. Let me just put the "be right back" moniker on. I need to get a drink. I am very thirsty, which is ironic considering how many hydrates I was getting earlier today. To get my drink. Why this didn't stay, I don't know, but all right, we're back. So it says for many players, the device they already own now allows them to stream games with Xbox. Cloud can also help Xbox One owners play newer games built for Xbox Series X and S without needing to purchase new hardware right away. I think this over here has been one of the primary reasons as to why, people have been not purchasing the Series X and S because they really just don't have to. Now, you want to know what the best mod for Resident Evil 2 is? Remove Mr. X. Such a great mod, that one. But you know what? I persevered and I won and I completed the game. But I think this has been a big proponent as to why the Series S and X sold so little. Because even now, I know people who are still on Xbox One playing Series S and X games through the cloud. They don't need to upgrade. I don't see Elusive Gamer in chat, which is weird. That takes away challenge. Hey, look, I beat that game without dying a single time. It's how pros are made. Chat believes me anyway. How weird. I can't see Elusive Gamer. Well, even though I can't see you, how you doing, buddy? You sure we believe you? I mean, you wasn't there to refute what I'm saying, right? Hey, I did not play on easy. I'm not gonna say I played on nightmare, but I didn't play on easy. I played on normal. I played on normal all the way through. On both Leon and Claire. I know. I know. So yeah, I think this is great that they're doing this. I think this opens up another avenue that's long been overdue, that was probably in the process of being done through the previous leadership, but just never got round to it, or couldn't be bothered with it. One of the two. But it's good that they're doing this now because it just opens up more avenues for revenue. The only thing I don't understand, sorry, I hit my mic. The only thing I don't understand with this whole cloud gaming thing. Okay. I'm live. What's up? No. The only thing I don't understand is, can I buy any game, like any game, and access it on the cloud? Or is it the ones that are whitelisted by Microsoft that I can buy that will play on the cloud? Yo, backlog. Let me see you try fighting a boss with your puppy on your head trying to rip your face off. It's like I had my own Resident Evil moment in real life. Man, Luna would not go away. She was literally surgically attached to my face, trying to just chew at everything she could get. And I don't understand how, but no matter where you move your head, she's moving in tandem. It's like the synchronization is 100%. She's a mind reader, man. Yeah, unfortunately, we can't really check out those. I get demonetized straight away, Tegan. But hopefully, I'll check it out later, and hopefully, it's good. Cobra attack. They do make it sound like it's any game, and the ads also make it sound like they'll be different depending on whether you're gaming on PC, mobile, or console. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be gaming related ads in general. So it's something that might actually interest you, or maybe a game that is coming soon, or stuff like that. I think if it's targeted in that way, it might not be so bad. All lies, Luna was a perfect puppy and sat nicely next to you. Uh huh. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure. Not the fact that I was fighting for my dear life as she was trying to destroy me. Yeah, they can. If you play a trailer, because it's got music and stuff like that, it instantly demonetizes you. And because the content isn't yours and you're not reacting to it, or and you have to kind of obscure the image as well, maybe make it reversed and stuff like that. It's just a lot of hassle. But chat, what do you think about the two big newses? Because Xbox dropped two big bombshells outside of Halo's you know, buggy launch, I should say, today. They dropped two true really big uh drops over the last few days. Yesterday, they revealed the whole OG Xbox being playable, back compat on your PC, and they revealed 4 games for you to be able to go and test it out and play it. And today, they've revealed a free cloud tier option for those people that don't have any form of subscription model to be able to jump in for an hour and try out the games that they purchase or play the games that they purchase an hour at a time. What's your thoughts on it? The ads will be financing plans for Helix. Oh, you mean like info vids? I mean, that could work. I don't think they'll do that though. Well, you guys got early access. I didn't. Probably because of premium edition. I mean, I had the premium edition. It didn't work, so I refunded and got my money back. Y'all, the bug testers, and then there were the beta bug testers when it comes out. Uh, it's like I was asked the other day by someone, and they were like, "Hey, if WoW comes to Xbox, will you report bugs and stuff like that?" And I'm like, nah, probably not. I did QA for what, 15 years, maybe 16. I think I'm done reporting bugs for a lifetime now. 16 years of being a QA tester, I'm good. I'm done. Heads up, Byron. Indeed. Vague indeed. I mean, you buy the games, but the actual cloud service is free if you get the ad tier. So if you've already got the game, but you're not subscribed to Game Pass, you can play it through the cloud for free for 1 hour. And then you log out and then can log back in and play another hour. It's not that it's an hour a day. You could just continuously log in and out. It is. I was streaming it earlier today, and it runs really well, and it's a lot of fun. A lot of fun, dude. Lots of fun. Put it this way: when the you had these oh, what's those big stone slabs that slam down in Mario called? I forgot what they're called. Someone must know what they're called. They've got a specific name. But you had one, and then you had a really big one. Harry Maguire. Thwomp. That's it. They're the thwomps. So you had a thwomp and then a really big thwomp. And so the one at the bottom holding the really big thwomp turned around to me and goes, I really need your help. This fat ass biatch. Now I'm changing the wording of biatch, but they said the literal word. Is crushing me. And I'm like, damn, like the language in that game is surreal. It would never be allowed in this day and age. But you know what? It was hilarious. The context that it was being used in, the way it was being used, it all just added up for a really cohesive experience. You had like three kind of Western kind of themed buddies who just kept on calling each other bastards. It was great. I really, really enjoyed it. I mean, the whole dialogue really adds to the experience. It truly is something really cool. Let's see. I think it would have been every game, otherwise, it defeats the purpose of a free ad supported tier. That's what I was thinking. I did QA on FIFA for a couple of years. Oh, that's nice. Not put much into GFN, but a lock 60 in Assassin's Creed Black Flag Racing at 1080p high with extended RT on ROG in 17 watt mode. Can't complain. Yeah, and if you got the ultimate tier, you get basically a full ultra stuff in whatever resolution you. Yeah, it just works, man. It's really cool. Once you start using that, and if the games are available on the cloud, you don't even bother installing them if you're at home because it's just gonna play the game better than what you can do. Why is World of Warcraft actually finally coming to console? It's not coming to console. But this person kept on asking me that question, and it was really irritating. And I was like, dude, I'm not doing free QA. I've done QA for like what thing? These companies give you beta access, and they're like, hey, report all these bugs for us because we don't want to pay actual staff to do it for us. Yeah, I'm kind of over that phase. No, they're the ones that basically it's like a big rock with a face on it and it crushes down. Big question: why vulgar and violent movies are beloved by parents, but they hate violent games? I don't think they hate violent games. They just want to be weird. I think that's it. They just want to be weird. I don't think there's anything else to it. Already benefit for 5K. Hey man, if you have it at 5K, then you can like start using like a magnifying glass to thing get a better picture. But if you get extra glasses, then you can have like a 2K display, double of what your 1080p is on a 170-inch screen. Then that extra resolution comes in handy, right? Huh? Nah, you go with a tier, whatever's perfect for you, man. I think you should go ultimate, but go with whatever's best for you. Ultimate is clearly best for you. Each time I use xCloud and Xbox, they keep asking me to install the game. Sorry, Xbox expansion costs are too expensive. I was lucky enough to get one for $100. Steve actually was the one that nudged me to, hey, look, they've kind of gone. This is the best price I've seen in a while, and I was like, you know what? That's actually pretty cool. I will pick it up. One of the best decisions I made. Man, it was thing. So the Xbox VP is gone, right? He yeeted out after 2 months. Turns out he got a multi-million-dollar contract offer, or permanent offer. He got an offer of a lifetime he couldn't refuse. So he said, "See ya, smell you later. I'm out." He did. He likes me really, not enough to send me a graphics card, but he likes me otherwise. He just won't admit it here. He'll admit it everywhere else, though. We're calfwens. Just like the Goonies. He my buddy. He my pal. I bought 2 used expansion cards for $100. Nice. Sorry about that, chat. But yeah, so the story that was evolving around this one was crazy. Everyone was going mental about it. Why is he leaving? Jumping ship already? It just turns out he got a crazy offer that he couldn't turn down, and off he went. I think anyone in that position would do the same. Yeah, it's about £40, 40 maybe £45. Probably more than that actually. It's probably more like £70. So chat, hear this out, right? If you buy the Asian version of Final Fantasy X 10-2 on the Nintendo Switch, you get the full games on the cartridge. If you buy Final Fantasy X 10-2 on Nintendo Switch 2, you get nothing on the cartridge. It's a key card instead. How does that make sense? Someone tell me how that makes any form of sense whatsoever. Outside of it being Nintendo things. It makes perfect sense. Just don't ask why. Yeah, that would do. I kind of want the Switch 2 version because it allows you to play it at 1440p, but it kind of defeats the purpose of it being, you know, I did manage to pick another one up for my collection. There's a Final Fantasy 12, Zodiac Age. I've almost got all the mainline numbers collected. I think I'm missing 2 now on the Switch. The bundle for 7 and 8, which has both physical games on there. Final Fantasy 10 and 10-2, which is the second one that I'm missing. And I'm missing Crisis Core. I just didn't understand why, man. It was weird. It made no sense whatsoever. I could get them for other platforms, but I've kind of committed to the Nintendo Switch to have them all physical. So I don't want to have to rebuy them again. I mean, I could sell all the Switch variations that I've got, but I'd rather not have to do that. You know? I'll check them out. I did buy a few things from VGP before, and they did arrive well. Hey! Look, it has an extra 0 at the end of it. So Xbox had a good quarter or good month this year, right? Unit sales were up by 86% versus last June. They try to justify why it's up, but the fact is, since all of this stuff that's been going on, whether it's the Halo thing or the Gears of War, Clockwork Revolution, or anything else, Forza Horizon 6, for example, Xbox units have increased in sales, which is, people said it wouldn't happen. Well, here you go. 40, what do you mean? Go away. Hey, look, man. I'd rather it be up 86% than down 33% year on year. It didn't get any positive increases forever. So this is a positive increase. I'll take it. It's still an increase, though, right? That is still 9 more people buying it. I mean, they were still third in the chart, don't get me wrong. But I think for Xbox, that's pretty damn good. Now we come to a bit of good news and bad news. It's Ubisoft related. And I know what you're going to say. How can you have good news and bad news when it comes to Ubisoft? Well, we're not talking about Avatar. We're talking about the 80 plus games that was added to the Xbox PC store. The 80 plus games that has everything I was looking for to buy the other day, like Odyssey, Origins. I'm probably never going to play Valhalla, so I'll skip that. Shadows, right? You've got the Far Cries, For Honor, Skull and Bones. However, I don't know, Ralph. They didn't really show it. He didn't post it. At least that's not from what I've seen. It does not support Xbox Play Anywhere. Or, more importantly, it does not support cross-save functionality. So they've just added 80 games, 80 plus games to the Xbox PC store. And the one feature that is, in my opinion, a defining feature for Xbox and their games between the connectivity between console and PC is, cross save, and it doesn't have it. Valhalla's just too long. I don't have like 500 hours to spare to play Valhalla. Even then, how can you not have cross-save functionality with Xbox? This is like the most basic and low effort drop-ins you could possibly get. What's your thoughts on this? Ubisoft sucks. Ubisoft being stupid. I don't want to put the fan on because it's getting warm in here. Oh, I don't know. I thought this was a little disappointing. It can't suck for all the. Where's the achievement supports? The Kid Smith coming in with the questions. I mean, clearly everyone wants cross save for achievements, right? That's the only reason you want cross save. But apparently, it's the same on Steam as well. So it's not like it's a Xbox thing. But I feel like, considering they're already in partnership with Xbox, this would have been like a no-brainer. I'm not even asking for Xbox Play Anywhere, just the ability to cross save. No achievements, no dice. It doesn't matter if they are in the Xbox store. If they don't have Xbox achievements, that is what makes them Xbox versions. How do you guys feel about achievements? I think this is a video that I'm looking to make, but I'm kind of curious to hear your thoughts. Like, what's your views on achievements? You got to pay like $18 additional on top of the ultimate just to get the Ubisoft store. What do you mean? It's already there, part of the service, no? I don't care about them really. If they pop up, cool, but I'm not going out my way to unlock them. See, I've seen people turn around and say, and I quote, "This was the most miserable achievement I've ever done. I hated the experience through and through. So happy it's over." Like, why would you put yourself through that? I mean, I don't think achievements make the games replayable. If you want to play them again, just play them again, right? Ah, I see what you're saying. So if you want the premium, you pay for the extra. Okay. Playing games for achievements defeats the purpose of playing games. And this is something that we were talking about today on stream when we were playing Conker's Live and Reloaded. Because there's no achievements on there at the moment. And it was just fun to play the game for fun rather than trying to unlock Chivos and move along that way. People see your gamer tag, and if your gamer score is low, they don't consider you a gamer. Dude, there was a year where I played nothing but gacha games. That's it. There was a few couple years where I played nothing but Destiny. And then there was the 7 years that I spent as a gamer playing mainly Final Fantasy 14. I mean, I spent probably about 15 years playing MMOs. Mirage is the last new one, right? I mean, technically, Mirage is old because it was available on mobile for a while, but it got a PC and console port. Achievements are the worst thing to happen to gaming. I kind of agree with that statement. That's where I stand with it because I feel like it sucked the enjoyment out of video games. And instead of them actually being achievements of you playing through the game and progressing, like some games literally have it where every chapter you go through, you unlock an achievement and it's done through progression, not through anything, extra. Those I think are the best type of achievements. Start at zero, work your way all the way until you complete the game. Exactly, Negan. Yeah, Assassin's Creed Mirage was originally a mobile game. It didn't do very well, so they ported it to PC. Man, I love it how as soon as we're talking about Assassin's Creed, Banishers like, yo, don't forget about Steam Deck and Mirage and whatnot. Buy it. Buy it from my company. It's only to artificially extend playtime and give people a false sense of accomplishment. 100%, which is why I say what they should be doing is having the achievements naturally progress from start to finish through the level design, right? So if you get 1,000 achievement points or whatever it is, it means you've beat the game and that's all there is to it. If you want to do a side story, side mission after that, that's fine and all, but the main game should be just what you get your achievements for. Not like when you had in Destiny, go kill 2,000 dregs. Like, why am I even doing this? Bungie abused it like crazy, but they were doing that shit for their catalysts as well. Achievement should be difficulty score based, in my opinion. Achievements have always been in games, they were just unlocks. There's actually a clause that base games have to be standardized. A game can't be over 1,000 game score. Yeah, that's correct. Oh, that I agree with, Steve. That I agree with. It absolutely kills multiplayer, right? It absolutely destroys multiplayer. There's no two ways about it. You go in as a group of three. Like I put on. Okay, this is going to come as a big shock to some of you. I put on Marathon the other day, just to see what it's like and where it's going. I jumped in with a group. What my one dude ran to the right, the other dude ran to the left, and I'm there stuck in the middle. Turns out they picked up different assignments, so they've just gone off, completely split from the pack to go do their stuff. And I'm like, what are we even doing here? Or then you've got like, hey, you got to get like 100 dagger kills in Call of Duty, and you're like, man, look at that guy with that rocket launcher. I'm gonna take my knife and try and take him out. And then you got a bunch of guys who just completely ruin your team's score and stuff because they're trying to get knife kills. Oh, you said that same yourself. I stopped reading when you said idiot. I don't want idiots trying to get. We came to the same thing. Tag, tag with the knife. Uh, I miss the Ubi challenges you used to get on Ubi Connect. Achievements are like fries at a burger place to me. You go to the place for the burgers, not the fries, ex- but the experience isn't complete without the fries. Nice. Quest for I don't know. I think you know achievements should be outlawed in PvP, and I don't know. I just think they should be more streamlined. I think they get worse as they go along. So the other day I released a video that seems to have angered some people. It's what I do. People generally get upset when I post something on my YouTube channel. They get very, very upset, right? Really upset. So I was talking about this, and there was an interview done with Sergey Grigorovich, the GSC Game World founder, about the decision to release it as a timed exclusive on Xbox, which ultimately turned out to be a beta version on the Xbox because as soon as it was fixed, it came off Game Pass, which is probably one of the most hilarious things to date. But they took more than the cost of Stalker 2. It paid for itself before the first day, which is, all a studio can ask for. The reason Xbox was so interested in Stalker 2 is because of how well the game's trailer performed online. Do you guys remember the actual trailer to Stalker, the original one? It's what I Hey man, it's what I do that defines me. That's what I said, Grigorovich. But they. Do you guys remember the trailer for Stalker 2? I can put it on just so you guys can get uh, a reminder of what it looked like. I mean, I did play it on my video, and there was a lot of unhappy people. They even one. I got one person reaching out to me who was quite friendly and to tell me I was wrong and whatnot, and provided some sources, even though the GSC founder is doing the interview over there and saying something completely different. But they were quite pleasant. I did get some other DMs on Discord that were not so pleasant. It telling me that I'm wrong and how dare you insult Papa Phil Spencer. At that point, I thought it actually was Steve's alts doing that, but apparently it wasn't. All right, it's this one here. I'm not going to go on for copyright reasons, but it's this one here that played, right? I'm sorry, but this isn't what we got at launch. And this is what Xbox paid for. This level of fidelity is not what we got, or these particle effects isn't what we got when we got the game. Now, what we got was a bundling mess. I would be pissed if I was Xbox at what they got. You're paying for more than the cost of the game, and you don't make it exclusive to yourself permanently. Like, what are we even doing here? And then on top of that, after the game is fixed and ready to release on PlayStation 5, they take it off the Xbox Game Pass panel. What? This is Stalker 2. But yeah, but it wasn't working properly, Reichi. They were fine to take the money though, Power Boss. Maybe stop development and focus on your well-being. But if you're going to take the money, then you've got to deliver, man. Like I said, I understand in my video, I understand that they were at the war, but most of these people were relocated from that place. This wasn't the actual thing, was it? Nah, this wasn't it. I think it might have been this one. Because it was broken, Power Boss. No, it wasn't this one either. This one wasn't the launch trailer. What you're saying, Power Boss, is that the game release broke. This is the one. This is the official trailer. This is the one that they came up with. Look, this is what Xbox signed up for. Now, before you say, like, as you can see here, right? But we'll go back to the trailer. The reason Xbox was so interested in Stalker 2 is because of how well the game's trailer performed online. When they looked at the number of views on the trailer, they quickly joined. They brought in all the documents for signing in about a week. They saw this trailer. They saw the world went crazy for this trailer. Because, look, I mean, I was one of those people, man. I saw this and I was like, God damn, this game looked good. This game looked good. This ain't what we got, man. I'm gonna. We did not get this. Like, this ain't in the game. None of that is in the game. I mean, it might be now, but it wasn't at launch. It just makes you wonder just how much money was being wasted. And if you're going to pay for over the development cost of the game, more than what the game costs to develop, why aren't you making it a permanent exclusive? Man, look how good this looks. I'm sorry, this looks amazing. This looks amazing. I want this Stalker 2. Wherever this Stalker 2 went, this is the one I want. Oh my god. For God's sake, I told you guys to remind me of what was happening. Look, the video's here. You guys are just drunk and blind. That's all I'm saying. You can see something. There is a video. I'm playing the goddamn video. You guys just didn't see it. That's all. Like, this is the Stalker 2 I want to see. Like, there is no streaming fail there. There is just me having multiple levels of frustration. Yo, Talos, I'm so happy you're enjoying it, man. Like, genuinely happy. I want everyone to enjoy Halo, despite my frustrations and what happened to me today and the complications that occurred with me and me canceling whatever. That was my decision. That's my choice. But you guys enjoying it? That's great. I'm happy for you. They just let me down, and I've decided on a personal thing to not reward them for letting me down. Yeah, man, this looks amazing. Four hours on Gears Reloaded and Rage Quit. You see, Steve, there are worse players than me. What boss was it? But yeah, like, the one thing that I will say that they kept was the Stalker vibe, even in the the messed up launch that they had with Stalker. But this level of quality and fidelity, it wasn't there, man. I'm sorry, it just wasn't. Ram on the Isn't that right at the end of the game? I don't. You see, but Bags, the difference with Avowed is that it's a Microsoft product. They didn't pay anything for it. With this one, they saw this trailer, they saw the reaction to this trailer at the Game of the Year showcase, and they said, you know what? This game looks like something a lot of people are excited for. We want this exclusive on Xbox. And then we got what we got, which looks nothing like this. And they paid more than the development cost to secure the game. And the game only got fixed after it went to PlayStation. And when it went to PlayStation, it came off Game Pass. So when they actually finally fixed the game and put it into a much more playable state, they took it off Game Pass. So essentially, Xbox paid for the full development cost of the game, more than the development cost, for their consumers to be QA beta testers, so PlayStation can get a better product by the end of it. Because once it was fixed, it came off Game Pass as well. Like, I'm sorry. Like, there's, I can't. I just can't. I can't, man. I don't think Steve plays it on anything less than insane. If Steve plays it on literally the hardest setting all the time. And I got a lot of people coming at me saying that I'm being really harsh about this. I don't think I was being harsh at all. Right? I don't think I was being harsh at all. If you're trying to sell me this, right? If you're selling me this, I expect to get this. If you're not delivering this, I'm sorry, but that's almost on the level of false advertising, right? Just look at this section here. Look at all the reflections. We got none of this at launch. Now, look, in Phil's defense, I said this from the beginning. The dude's a gamer. The dude is a bona fide gamer, not a business person. Well, he's obviously clearly business driven, but he's a gamer at heart. So I'm just saying that was his Achilles heel. That was his ultimate weakness. And I feel like a lot of studios abused that part of him to get what they wanted. I mean, just look at Double Fine. They openly admitted that they went to Xbox with the most absurd idea they could ever come up with. And because it was a creative decision, like vision that Xbox saw, that Phil saw, Phil never wanted to impede anyone's creative ideas. So he greenlit it, and that ended up being killed. But then the studio was like, oh, well, we went to them with the most dumbest idea, and they said, okay. And we were like, okay, we'll just make it then. Like, if you clearly thought it was a silly idea, why are you even doing that in the first place? Like, they clearly abused Phil's good nature. And Phil was just too much of a nice guy to say no. Look, man, that's why I brought up that whole WoW thing earlier. Someone in my Twitch stream, which, hey, if you guys want to help me get to 100 followers over there, we are doing a punishment stream once we get to 100 followers, where over at Discord, you'll be able to vote on a selection of absolutely awful games that I'll have to play one of for a whole day. So if you're interested in that, get over to my Twitch channel and drop a follow. So far, the selection of games is Gollum, Quantum Error, The Walking Dead Destinies, Pong, and these guys are still adding games to that list of horrible, horrible, horrible games that they want me to play through for a day. So if you want to make that a reality, you know what to do. But yeah, he just didn't want to impede on anyone's creative vision, and they abused him for it. And I think that was just so wrong. But yeah, going back to that whole World of Warcraft thing over at my Twitch channel, I digressed a little. Shameless plug. I'm just done being a tester, man. I've done it for 15, 20 years. I don't want to do it. It's a job. I'm not doing it for free. Phil isn't a gamer. He is a gamer, man. He's a gamer. Man, when Phil announced the layoffs, people turned around on his Fallout 76 camp and they nuked it. And he made it his mission to find out exactly who it was that nuked it, and he sent those nukes back to their camp. He's a gamer, man. He's a gamer at heart. Gameplay was a solid RPG, but what we were shown was not what we got. It felt like red levels of bad at release. Exactly, man. Exactly. Woodpit, what's effed up if true? I mean, even if we played Huntsman, that's like a 1 hour game, right? I just need to keep my eyes closed and I'll be good. I stream Monday to Friday on Twitch, Power Boss. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I do double streams now. I stream on Twitch during the day and YouTube in the evening on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Gollum and Kong. Ugh. Yeah, that's right. You should let me. You guys should vote for me to play Assassin's Creed Shadows. In fact, I'll add a Ubisoft game in there just for kicks and giggles. Tim dropped acid on Phil's tea. Say yes to anything. Good thing. It's actually true because the actual person who pitched it with Tim and co, she actually openly said that we went to the leadership, to the team, and pitched it. They actually openly admitted to coming up with she basically said, collectively, we came up with the dumbest idea humanly possible to see if Xbox would accept it, and they did. She openly admitted to it. It's 100% facts true. It's 100% true, which is sad. That's why I said they abused Phil's good nature. But man, this look amazing. This is the Stalker 2 I wanted. It's the Stalker I never got. Well, instead they divested the studio, right? The studio is no longer at Xbox. Double Fine are independent now. They're off doing their own thing. So they're no longer. This is what I mean. Between Asher, the difference between Asher and Phil. Asher is business. She's all about business, and I think people, don't understand when it comes to certain things. When it comes to business, like building games is a business. I watched David Jaffe's video the other day when he was talking about the whole PlayStation stuff. Let me see if I can find it while I bring this screen up, because it was a good video, and he basically talked about how the whole system works. Because it's been a while since it's been there, but nothing really truly changes. I don't know what his channel is called though. Oh, it's just called David Chet. Oh, here it is. But yeah, we've got these games coming to Game Pass. We've got Mistfall, which is big. You got Beast of Reincarnation. I'm really looking forward to that. You've got Halo campaign involved, which drops in 5 days. Hell is Us. No idea what Shift at Midnight is. You've got that PC Corsair game. And old school Heretic and Hexen going to premium. But Ultimate is eating good this month. In terms of releases, you've got Back to Dawn. These are actually leaving Xbox on the 31st of July. So if you wanted to play any of these, now's a good time to jump into them. Rainworld, Sniper Elite Resistance. I think that's going to be the last Sniper Elite we get. Whiskerwood, Friendly Neighborhood, Mount and Blade, Bannerlord, Crusader Kings 3, Celeste, which is a good one, I've heard, and Back to Dawn. Ah, I see. I mean, it does look like one of those PC games anyway, that people go crazy over, especially over at Twitch. Has it now? I mean, they were at 3 million not long ago. Look, Black Flag is doing amazing. I think it's a great game. I really enjoyed it. But let's have a listen to what Jeffy says here. It's not that long of a video.
Look, man, I know I would have one of the biggest gaming channels on YouTube if I just told you what you wanted to hear. I know what you want to hear. I do. If I just sat here and catered to your nostalgia, our nostalgia, frankly, and fed the outrage machine, my sub count would explode overnight. I could.
I've been saying that same shit for the longest time, just putting it out there. If I was to lie to you guys and tell you exactly what you wanted to hear, rather than being honest and thing with you, take it easy, Steve. I would, the reality is when you speak the truth and don't feed what people want to hear, it hurts your channel. It's true. Just look at all the other people that are fake raging and all of this stuff and making up, stuff just so they can join the bandwagon of hate. It really helps the numbers go up. I'm just not built to do that. I can't do it. I might be wrong, right, in my opinion, and that's fair. But when I'm giving you my opinion, it's what I believe to be right. And so I'm more realistic and pragmatic about it. And I'm not just going to have a fit on stream just for the views and clicks. I just won't do that.
I can do it right now. But here's the truth, the actual uncomfortable truth that very few people in this space seem to want to admit. And the truth is, phasing out physical media is not some evil, greedy, Rothschild-coded, Illuminati-stuffed anti-consumer plot to ruin your life. It really isn't. It is just the brutal, unavoidable financial reality of an industry trying to survive when the kind of games that made you love PlayStation in the first place, well, those games now cost $300 million plus. And I want to emphasize the plus, as that's a conservative estimate. $300 million to make games today. Now, look,
I think if games didn't cost as much, I think we wouldn't be seeing the obliteration of physical media. No, it is Woodpit. It is 100%, right? But I think if the games weren't so expensive to build these days, I don't think we'd see the obliteration of physical media. Don't get me wrong. I think physical media is a good thing. Having the choice for physical is always a plus. The fact that it's going away, like I went into my local CEX, picked up about 6 or 7 games for about 15 quid. They were dirt cheap, but they were games I wanted. You won't be able to do that anymore. That's going to be a distant memory. But even then, you go and buy a game. There's something different about getting a game and being able to just open the box. And I mean, nowadays you don't even get a manual or anything. But back in the good old Mega Drive and SNES days and PS1 and even PS2 days to a certain degree, OG Xbox, you had like a fat manual in there that you could go through. Some of them had even like story plots that you could read and whatnot. It was cool, man. It was really cool. But there's something different about it, something nostalgic about it that you really enjoy. But games cost too much today. If games were like, I mean, you look at Ghost of Tsushima, and I'm going to use that as a prime example. It's like 60 million to make. How can you make Ghost of Tsushima for 60 million and then go and make Spider-Man 2 for over 300 million? Like, the mind boggles, right? It's not about the pipeline, dude. It's not about the pipeline. I'm gonna get a clip up. Let me see if I can quickly find that clip. 1 second. And we'll come back to this video. I'm just gonna see if I can find that clip because this kind of encapsulates why games cost so much today. Is there a transcript for this? I guess not all videos have a transcript. No. I could play Jason's video where he goes through it. There's only a certain segment that I'm really interested in, but I don't know if I can find it. He goes through why games are so expensive. See if I can find it on social media. But it perfectly outlines why it is. And I remember someone had a clip of it, but I don't think I've got the time. I don't have the timestamp. I wasn't planning on showing that today. Just have another quick scan. If I can't see it on social media, then I'm gonna give up and go back, and I'll try and find it for next time. I mean, Spider-Man 3 is supposed to cost somewhere in the region of about 400 million. Believe it or not. Where is it? And doesn't this even have a AI option to ask a question? Do you know what? Let's just play this video. I'm going to play it at double speed, just so you can get a rough idea. Let's try 1.5.
budgets. Where do they go? I think a lot of people maybe think of film budgets or other just kind of expenses across the world, different projects that they've worked on, where a lot of that budget is going towards expensive equipment or location fees or real estate or other just kind of big expenses that you need in order to make things. With games, it's a little bit different. Games do not really require a lot of expensive equipment. I mean, you need computers and hardware, but like in the grand scheme of things, that's not that much money. There is real estate costs, and office space is certainly a factor, but the biggest expense in game development is people. The reason for that is that on a game, you need to pay salaries of people. Unlike, say, film productions, just as a point of comparison, you generally can't, on a game, just cycle people in and out for very short periods as you need them. A lot of people need to be working on the game from the beginning to the end. Granted, you can have some people come in, and game projects certainly will shift up and down in their staffing depending on what state of the project they're in and what else they need. But for the most part, you need to have a lot of people working on a game for a long time in order to make that work. So here is a rule of thumb for how to calculate budgets. It's funny, when I was reporting on my first book, Blood, Sweat, and Pixels, back in 2015, 2016 or so, I got a very helpful number, which is 10,000. That was the estimate at the time for the monthly burn rate of your average employee. Now, this is I should preface this by saying we're talking about estimates here. We're going to do a little bit of napkin math and try to figure out how we're getting into those hundreds of millions of dollars ranges, but this is all estimates, and that's generally what budgets are built upon, is estimates. So let's say the burn rate for people was $10,000 per month per person back then.
I know, but there's a difference between the indie games and the stuff that goes into AAA games. And the problem is, if a game isn't AAA today, a lot of people just aren't interested in it. And that's a big problem. This whole notion where if a game isn't AAA, it's not good. That kind of mentality, though it started to erode now somewhat, for the past 3 or 4 years, it's been pretty much the mainstay.
That was generally the estimate. So what does that mean? So that adds up to $120,000 a year. That is a combination of salary, of benefits and overhead, and of other various kind of miscellaneous costs, including you can kind of fold in maybe some...
By the way, is this slow enough for you guys, or do you want me to slow it down a little bit more?
Office costs in there, some computer costs in there, miscellaneous. So that's the bucket, right? The number has gone up since there, but let's do a little bit of napkin math to try to figure out what that means. Look, I got a fancy calculator here. Let's reset that. Okay, so we have our 10,000. So 10,000 per month. Now, let's say, how many people do we want on this project? Let's say we're working on a project, it's 2015, so fewer people than you need today, but let's say we're working on a project that takes, I don't know, 100 people, right? So we're going to multiply that by 100 people. So that is our number for the amount that we're spending per month. So about $1 million per month if on our 100 people. And now let's try to figure out, so how many months are we actually going to take on this project? Let's say it's a 3-year project, which again used to be the kind of the standard par for the course. So we're going to multiply that by 36, and then we get our final budget number, 36 million. So just to repeat, that's $10,000 per person per month, multiplied by 100 people. So that's about $1 million per month, multiplied over the course of 36 months. So that is 36 million. Pretty simple math, right? So that's a project that takes 36 million. Again, we are talking about napkin math here. In reality, these budgets are going to look a lot more complicated. People are going to cycle in and out of the project. You might need to bring in some outsourcing at the end to help out with things. You might need to bring in, I don't know, playtesters and kind of other various things. You're going to have to pay cert fees. There's a lot of other complicated factors, but napkin math, that is what we can go with. So cut to today. That number has gone up since then. And I think at a lot of the most expensive cities, we're talking more $15,000, $20,000 burn rate per person per month. So let's try to figure out what a game would cost by today's standards in one of these expensive cities, right? So let's go on the lower end. Let's go with 15,000 per month. A lot more people it takes. I mean, look at a place like Bungie. Bungie has, I believe, around 800 employees. I'm not 100% sure what that number is at now, but some of these games are taking hundreds of people to work on. So
Bungie at the time, at its peak, had 1,600 employees. 800 was after they got rid of 50% of their staff.
Say that we're working on a big AAA game. Let's say it's 400 people. That's pretty typical for like full-time staff for a big AAA production these days. So we're going to go with 400. So that is our monthly burn rate. That is 6 million. Man, the text is really small on my calculator. That is 6 million per month. We're talking about 6 million per month. So now I think 3 years is the low end of the spectrum these days. So let's say that this is more like 5 years, right? So we're going to go with 60 months. And now we are at a much bigger number. Now we are at $360 million. And now you can see how we are getting into the 300 million plus territory just by multiplying.
So we went from 36 million to 360 million just because of how much employees cost.
multiplying some of those numbers by a little bit. $360 million for a video game. So again, that is a burn rate. And this is kind of the low end of the burn rate, $15,000 per month for a team of 400 people across 5 years. That is $360 million. And if you look around the industry, like you've seen, it's very public. Some companies come out with a game and then don't come out with another game for 5-6 years. So these numbers are not just made up here. This is real. These are real timelines. You can also, some of them are public about their staffing numbers. Some of them have been very transparent about that. Otherwise, you can kind of look on LinkedIn and get a sense for how many people are at a company. Some of these companies have thousands of people. So we might be going into numbers way higher than this. So this is just, again, some napkin math. Let's just for fun, let's go on the higher end of things. So let's say you are in, I don't know, Seattle or Los Angeles or San Francisco. And let's say your burn rate is way higher. Let's say it's closer to, let's high end, let's say $20,000 a month, right? So that's $240,000 a year.
And this is the thing, Double Fine was in one of these 2 or 3 states where it's god tier expensive for real estate, for office renting, salaries. So they were literally at the premium end and delivering games at the lower end that ain't selling anything. You know, the maths just wasn't adding up with Double Fine.
Per employee. If you're in San Francisco and you're competing with Anthropic and Meta and Google for engineer salaries, $240,000 a year might be lowballing it. Like those people might be making more than that. And if you go and you look on job listings for some of these companies, you can actually see some salary bands that are upwards and into these numbers. And by the way, I think a lot of people out there might hear some of these numbers.
Unlike the UK, have a good night, gaming. Unlike in the UK, Ghosty, in America, the salaries are really inflated, like very inflated. Especially in the higher end states, they're really, really inflated to match the standard of living in those states. But at the same time, the game costs in those states aren't actually changing in price. They're still the $70 that they are. Maybe a fix for this could be state-based or region-based pricing. Certain, depending on the standard of living and the standard of salaries and whatnot. I don't know. But if you're paying that much money, at that point, the only solution that you really have that would fix this is that you move all your studios out of those states that are really expensive and just don't offer any jobs at all in those regions to bring the cost down. Because salaries are essentially what's the biggest burden.
And think like, holy crap, these game developers, they're the 1%. But it's worth putting in context here that in these cities, that is a lot closer to an average salary, like a salary you need in order to live a comfortable life and, I don't know, buy a decent sized house and have kids. That is not like, if you're making $240,000 a year or even $400,000 a year in a city like San Francisco, you are not rich by any means. You are maybe upper middle class. But anyway, okay, so let's take our...
Imagine that. So yeah, you hear that, yeah, Ghosty? If you're making $400,000 a year, you're not rich. You're just getting by. So that's why in these cities, you just take your studios and take them out of there. If that means that developers have to relocate and whatever, so be it. But at the end of the day, the fact is that this is one of the big reasons why studios have big problems when it comes to cost factors.
$20,000 burn rate. Let's do that by, let's say, let's keep one of these variables the same. Let's say we have a 400 person studio. So kind of like a standard, I believe some of the high end like Sony studios are around there. I think our 400 is pretty par for the course in AAA these days. Just off the top of my head. I mean, I don't want to just spit out numbers because some of these staffing numbers are just changing all the time, but there's some big studios that have around 400 employees. So let's say 20,000 times 400. So that is our calculation for our burn rate every single month. Again, crazy numbers, $8 million every single month. That is, I mean, just think about that. That's how much we're burning every time, whenever we're in pre-production and we have people just kind of tooling away on an idea, trying to figure out what's going to work. That is $8 million, right? So, and let's say, let's make this a little shorter. Let's say we miraculously managed to make a new game, not in the 5 or 6 years that it actually takes these days, but let's say it only took us 4 years. So times 48. And again, we are upwards of $300 million. We are in the $384 million ballpark math for that game. So you can see how these numbers have gotten pretty wild. And so when you're out there and you're seeing these headlines that are like, oh my God, Concord cost $250 million or whatever, and somehow that they couldn't make a giant open world or whatever, just think about it in terms of number of people times number of months they were all working, which is going to be an equation that you take to no matter what kind of game you're making. It doesn't matter if you're making a multiplayer shooter or a big open world. world. The open world games might take more time and more people because you're creating more content, but all of these games, once you hit a certain threshold of the number of people that you need, you are getting into pretty expensive territory. Again, there's all sorts of factors here. I mean, some of these companies you could certainly like look at and say, hey, a little bit of wasteful.
And don't forget, there's going to be like months as well where just you're blocked, right? There'll be periods where you're completely blocked and you can't do anything. Like I've been in positions where we were blocked for like 2 weeks and we couldn't do anything. You're just sitting there twiddling your thumbs and you're still getting paid that 4, that 4 million, half of that 8 million is still going to be paid to the out, even though there's no work getting done.
Spending here. Hey, maybe you don't need 2 years of just kind of pre-production dreamland to get this game off the ground. Maybe actually you can iterate a little quicker. And there's a lot of conversations being had around the industry as we speak about how to get the length of time down. But the one thing that is not going to go down, at least here in the US anytime soon, is the burn rate itself. That kind of per person per month rate that we've played around with that went from 10,000 to closer to 15 to 20,000 per month nowadays. And the reason for that is just that the cost of living in the US has just skyrocketed enormously. And in order to keep up with inflation and with competing companies, and in order to give people a standard of living that they deserve, you need to be spending that kind of money. This is the main reason that we are seeing a lot of game companies look elsewhere outside of the United States for development. Some of them are staying here for sure. Some of them are staying here and then doing code.
And one of the things that where I used to work, we eventually did is instead of like bringing new people in the UK because it was so expensive, and we had dry spells. In the end, they started outsourcing to like Manila, which is really cheap, but they were also absolutely horrible. And usually you'd send someone down to Manila to train them a little bit for about a couple of weeks, and then you'd come back and basically have one person dedicated to oversee the whole team. But once they got the gist of things and things were rolling, you saved exponentially on cost. But it's just because things are just so expensive.
Development or outsourcing elsewhere. Outsourcing has been a thing in the games industry for a very long time, but it's really picked up in recent years to the point where, again, it's been called co-development because it's a lot of just kind of we might have a small team of 100 people here, and we are working with teams all over the world to do these piecemeal things for our games, and therefore that is going to cost us less because we don't need to hire those people full time and just have them in our studio every single day, just watching that burn rate go up. Instead, we can bring them on in and out as we need them. And that, I think, is something that we're going to see more and more of as time goes on. But at the end of the day, that is fundamentally why these numbers are going up. It's a combination of salaries going up and the amount of time it takes to make games going up. You should check out, I'm going to throw a link in the description of this YouTube video to my Bloomberg article. Some of the Bloomberg articles I've done about why costs are going up and the mismanagement that is involved there and the waste, and also just the realities that everybody is trying to deal with. Some of these problems, and I think that maybe if you watch a lot of YouTube videos, maybe you've seen a lot of people just trying to blame people and saying, oh my God, these developers are so lazy. Oh my God, these managers are so greedy. And sometimes there's some truth to that. And if you've followed my reporting over the years, I'm sure you've seen stories about both of those things being true at times. But the biggest factor is just the economic reality that everybody is trying to navigate in 2026. The extreme competition, the swelling of budgets, the exponential growing of timelines, the fact that it takes more and more people to make games, more and more time to make games, that is what is causing these budgets to get out of control. Before we say goodbye, let's do one more. Let's play around real quick with one more thing. I wanna try the highest end of the highest end. So let's say we have a.
So this wasn't the video that I was looking for, but if I remember correctly, I did just do another search, but I couldn't find what I was looking for. And everything in AI, Google just keeps reverting back to this video. But it might have been in an article that he wrote. But what he was saying was, back in the day when you made a game, you didn't have voice actors. You didn't have screenwriters. So now, when you're making a AAA game, you have, you need to have script writers. Those script writers then have their proofreaders, and then they have, different people to basically help them brainstorm. Then you've got the voice actors that themselves come in. You've got the actual motion capture that they need to take on. Those motion captures need directors, senior directors. They need, planning directors. You need then you've got those that are doing the stuff like the apparatus setup and all that. None of those costs that people consider are actually big, massive costs that are in video games today. Those are what's driving a huge portion of the costs up, because just to get the motion capture in, you need like three or four different teams just for that does none of the programming, but it's just doing, you know, the voice acting, the motion capture, and everything else associated with that. It's crazy how much. Oh, take it easy, Chili. Oh, you got to wait till 6. Nice. So the actual amount of stuff that goes into video games today is completely astronomical compared to what we had back in the day. You know, people look at motion capture and say, man, that looks amazing. But the amount of teams that are involved in that motion capture, from the teams that get on the suits, the ones that produce, the ones that direct, the ones that bring it to life, the ones that get the 3D modeling all in place while they're working, all of this costs money now. And even those people have people above them over, you know, supervising what they're doing and making sure everything is running. Then you've got people on top of that making sure that, you know, everything is within budget or trying to be. Like, you've literally got like a whole studio essentially just for motion capturing. So it's massive. Whereas back in the day, you didn't have any of this. You didn't have any motion capture. You didn't have any voice acting. You didn't have any of this requirement. So games were a lot cheaper back in the day. In today's day and age, it's just not. People want AAA games, and AAA games come at a cost. It's that simple. And if you're doing it in a really expensive state, well, then it becomes even more of a problem. It's a miracle when you see companies like Sucker Punch or Asobi doing games for 60 million and them being actually pretty damn good. And then you hear games like Spider-Man 3 estimated to be over 400 million. But you can see how that number can escalate very quickly just on salaries alone. No, it's actually factually proven that Hollywood right now it's cheaper to produce the Avengers movie than it is to produce a blockbuster AAA game in the video games industry. Right now, the video game industry is the most expensive industry, in my opinion, out there when it comes to entertainment.
I have to. So I saw this post going around on Twitter today. Perfectly captures why the internet gets so confused about the business of games. It's a post from Rhino, who I follow and I like. But this post, I don't like this post so much because, I mean, look at these check marks. Tens of thousands of views, hundreds of retweets, and people treating it like gospel in the replies. And honestly, I get why. Like, psychologically, I get why. If you don't actually know how the business works, this seems like a completely logical pushback that Rhino is making. He's throwing out these stats. Sony shipped 70 million physical discs. The UK physical market is over 300 million pounds in value. 121 countries don't have reliable internet. Geez, how are you going to argue with those stats? But when you actually pull it apart, the logic, his logic, completely crumbles. All right, let's start with this stat right here. Let's start with the stat that Sony shipped nearly 70 million physical.
Jeffy about to literally destroy Rhino, by the way. I feel bad for Rhino because he about to get completely homeschooled.
Games in fiscal 2025. Well, first of all, shipped does not mean shipped to gamers. It means shipped to retail stores, right?
Oh, damn. Wait. There's, by the way, chat, did you hear what he just said?
Does not mean games in fiscal 2025. Well, first of all, shipped does not mean shipped to gamers. It means shipped to retail stores, right?
So does this mean when Sony says 100 million shipped, it doesn't mean that they've actually sold 100 million?
Right? So we don't actually know how many of those 70 million discs made it into players' hands because Sony only has to report what they ship to stores, not what stores actually sell. When a publisher ships 1 million copies of, let's say, the phenomenal Ghost of Yote, great game, they count that as a win, as they should. That's a lot of copies. But if half of those games end up sitting on a shelf gathering dust, Best Buy doesn't just eat that loss. They box those games up and send them right back to Sony for a refund. So 70 million shipped does not mean 70 million players actually went out and bought a physical copy. But even if it did mean that, let's look at that math. And you guys know, if you watch this channel more than 10 minutes, I'm shit at math. So I've triple checked this. But here's the math. 70 million discs sounds massive, right? But if you look at that exact same fiscal year, which is Rhino is talking about, 2025, PlayStation actually sold 290 million, give or take, million full games. So if 70 million of those games were physical, that means 210 million of those full games, roughly 72%, were bought digitally. 72% were bought digitally. So when you look at the whole picture, physical is just a fraction of the total volume of games sold. And I'd like to point something out here. That 290 million figure of digital sell is not DLC. It's not Fortnite V-Bucks, not microtransactions.
So you know where PlayStation fans and the media were trying to come up with saying that Sony skewed the numbers? He's actually refuting that now because he's been part of it.
Transactions, not PlayStation Plus subscriptions. Sony's own financial reporting to their investors, that number is tracked under a strictly legally binding category called full game software unit sales or something like that. I forget the acronym, but it counts actual individual full games, period. The DLC is listed somewhere else. Now, I know some of you guys will bring up the Insomniac leaks from a while back to argue that big single player games still sell heavily on disc at launch. First off, that data is years old now. It's 6 years old, I think. It's from 2020 or 2022. But since then, I would guess, and I only guess, but I imagine you'd agree, the gap between digital and physical has only gotten wider. And by the way,
it has.
When we talk about, I feel like an asshole pointing this out, but I'm sorry. When we talk about phasing out the disk drive, who do you think actually makes that call? And this is important to keep in mind, though, because it's not the developers. It's not the artists and coders and directors at Naughty Dog or Santa Monica. They're not sitting around a table plotting to steal your plastic boxes. They just want to make great games, and we'll get to this in a second. This decision for Sony to go all in on digital is going to let those artists keep doing that. And that digital decision, again, it's not even coming from PlayStation. It's not coming from Herman Holst or even his boss. This is a decision that's clearly coming from Papa Sony at the very top of the corporate food chain because the math is simply too good to ignore. This is the math. Like I said, I triple checked this shit. Sony proper makes most of its money off third-party games, not the first-party titles. The first-party titles motivate you to buy the box. And once you have the box...
Wait. I want you guys to hear that just again, right? I want you guys to hear that again.
Proper makes most of its money off third-party games, not the first-party titles. The first-party titles motivate you to buy the box. And once
exclusives matter.
You have the box, the lion's share of games that get bought and sold and played on PlayStation are made by different publishers. Konami, Activision. Take Activision, for example, with game. Take Activision with Call of Duty. Okay, the new one, whatever. $70 physical game disc of Call of Duty, and imagine it being sold at Target. Target comes in, they sell a copy, they take their cut. Depends on the negotiation, there's a percentage cut Target gets. The factories that print the discs and the trucks that ship those discs to the stores take a cut, whether it's from the back end or an upfront fee. And then Sony takes a fee for just letting the game be on PlayStation. Everything sold on PlayStation that runs, Sony gets a percentage, which in the case of a game is $10. The publisher, Activision, keeps what's left. So 30 to 35 to $40. Now, that's good. That's been a business model that's worked for a long time. But look what happens when you buy the exact same game, but you buy it digitally on the PlayStation Store. Okay? Target is gone. They get cut out. The people who drive the trucks and run the trucking companies and manufacture the disc and the manuals and write the manuals, all that's gone. That's cut out.
Woodpit. It's no surprise. It's no secret. Third-party games make the bread and butter of the majority of your console sales, right? Third-party games just sell the most. There's more of them. There's more options of them. When it comes to first party, it's never going to compete with, you got Xbox as a single first party and they've got, 20, 30 studios. But when you've got 50 different studios making games for that 1 year, and then you've got another 100 studios that are third party also making games, you can't compete with that. So the majority of the sales are always going to be third party. But what defines your console brand, your image, the console's experience is its first party. It's what differentiates it from its competition. With Xbox, you've got Halo, Gears of War, Forza, Fable. With PlayStation, you've got God of War and Ratchet and Clank. These games are synonymous with each of them. With Nintendo, you've got Mario. If you want to play Mario, you're going to go to Nintendo. If you want to play God of War, you're going to go to PlayStation. If you want to play Halo, you're going to go to wherever Halo is, right? Right now, it's everywhere. So it loses the appeal of them saying, hey, if you want to play Halo, you need to come to Xbox. They can't say that right now. If you want to play Gears, until Gears E-Day, well, they can say that with Gears E-Day now, but with Gears Reloaded, they couldn't say that. Right now, they can say it with Forza, but in a couple of months, they're not going to be able to say that. So this is what I'm saying. Like, exclusives aren't the money makers. What the exclusives do is they get the consumer to come to your ecosystem, to your platform. They draw you in. You're still playing the same third-party games that everyone else is playing, but that exclusivity trail is what draws the people in. Yeah, exactly, Bags. So, like, I've never once, I don't think, I don't think I've ever said that first-party games are the biggest earners on a console. No, what they do is they define your console and give people a reason to buy your platform. They're still going to go and buy their FIFAs and their Maddens and play their Roblox and Minecraft, but that doesn't matter because your first party games drew them in. Now, when they're playing those games and spending that microtransaction money, that money is going all to Microsoft. And so that's why first party is important, because it's the lure that you've used to fish them in. The third parties do the big heavy lifting.
Not that we ever have manuals anymore, but you know what I mean? The art and stuff. And now Sony gets to take 30% because it's on PSN, because it's on the digital.
Normies may not know what first party is, but they know what Halo is. They know what God of War is, and they know what Mario is. And if you ask the normie, hey, where do you play God of War? They're going to say PlayStation. If you ask a normie, where do you play Mario? They're going to say Nintendo. Today, if you ask where they play Halo, will they say Xbox? See, that's the point I'm making there. Whereas the other two have clear cuts. So if you want those, you will go to that platform over there. With Xbox, they don't have that clear cut messaging. And this is why it's so important to have a clear message and a clear vision and a clear direction when it comes to exclusives. It's not about locking people away, but it's about maintaining the console's relevance. Because the moment the console becomes irrelevant, that's it. All those games that you had that were on the console only, that aren't play anywhere, that's it. If they decide that consoles aren't relevant anymore and they don't want to release it, well, you're not getting another console, which means eventually they're going to stop making those Series X's, and those games that you've bought on your Series X that are only console playable, that are digital, well, once your console dies, you lose everything with it. Whereas the drive that Xbox is doing right now with preservation, the next console they release, Helix, is going to have Series X compatibility, which means all the games that you've purchased on your Series X will be will be playable on that device, which is amazing. But if the console doesn't have relevance and it doesn't sell and there's no demand for it, that will stop. And the way you increase demand for a console is via a first party offering that you can't get anywhere else, because that's the law. Everything else is there designed to make money, but the first party is the law to bring them in. And that's why first party is important.
Store instantly, doubling their take from $10 to $21. The game's publisher, Activision, in this case, they keep the rest of the money. For every digital copy sold, instead of getting $35 to $40, they're making $50 for every single digital copy sold of Call of Duty. How, if the audience is behind this and they're okay with it, and stats show they are, if you were running these companies, you would do the same. And if not, you'd probably be fired for not, upholding your fiduciary responsibility, because you're just a fucking moron if your job is to make money. So, I mean, you can see why third-party publishers are not fighting Sony on this. They're popping champagne.
That's the thing, right? Like you said, how many third-party publishers have you seen right now fighting Sony with physicals, with the whole physical debate? You're seeing indies do it because they're looking to try and get, a freebie, trying to get some good PR, trying to sell their game, and, trying to stand with the consumer. When all along, they're just doing it, to get some good PR, good exposure for free so they can sell their game, right? Because indies need all the help they can get. They don't give a shit about physical either. But how many, big publishers like EA, like Capcom, like Konami, or anyone else have you seen come out and publicly say, we are against what Sony is doing and we stand with the consumer? How many have you actually seen do that? Because I haven't seen one. Instead, they're sitting in the back going, yeah, boy, I see that money coming in, baby. Good on you, Sony. Good on you. You're making us more money. I see them all doing that.
Man, you're, other than the really small ones, you're not hearing many people bitch. Capcom recently reported that over 90% of their game sales are digital. EA, 2K, those guys are making hundreds of millions.
Have you seen 2K do it? Because GTA isn't coming out in physical. They couldn't give two shits. I haven't seen Capcom come out with anything to do with that. Who have you actually seen?
I'm
curious.
More on digital than physical. Everybody makes way more money per game sold without worrying about unsold plastic boxes collecting dust in a warehouse, without worrying about giving other middlemen a cut of the percentage. And this claim from Rhino, yeah, I mean, it sucks. It's unfortunate for markets without high-speed internet, but no massive global company is going to keep paying for factories and trucks and warehouses to serve edge cases that only bring in a tiny fraction of their overall profit. They go where the money is, man. I mean, do you really think Sony would be doing this if they're like, oh, those 121 countries that don't have PSN, why didn't we?
Again, I said, which major publisher have you seen? Individual studios, they're going to be doing. Even Mortal Shell 2 came out and said, hey, we've run out of physicals and we're not making anymore, so digital's your only option. They're not going back and making more. Stablecoin? Send me a link to that. I haven't seen it.
Think about that. We totally lost their business. Come on. They factored it in. It's not a drop in the bucket, clearly.
And I often see this thing about the 121 countries that don't have PSN access. And honestly, I think Sony's probably weighed up, like what he's saying, those countries in terms of revenue, and just said, you know what? You're not worth our time. The amount of money you bring in just isn't worth us losing that much money. You don't bring in that much money. And so they're willing to write those countries off and not have them in any functional way have a PlayStation, because they know that by doing that, they're getting more money through the digital market.
Now, all of this leads to a question of, okay, well, great, Jeffy, the math checks out. if you're a greedy asshole robber baron, but isn't this anti-consumer? Anti-consumer. You hear that a lot in this discussion. The reality of the gaming industry and any industry really, and I'm sorry to say this, is that it's a business. First and foremost, before everything else, every single decision in a video game has the bottom line baked into it from the start. From what games get greenlit to what live service games get canceled and when. Gamers, they throw this phrase around, anti-consumer. Anytime a corporation makes a move where the gamers, can clearly see the truth that has always been operating behind the scenes, that every move a company makes is always about making money. From them green-lighting Twisted Metal 3, instead of a game where you played this IT guy inside a giant robot. Totally true. I was there. I saw the demo. But they greenlit Twisted Metal 3. From that to them killing the disk drive on the PS6, every decision is this going to make us money? Now, we sit here and we cry about publishers doing these things, ditching disk drives or pushing live service games. But there is a massive, almost willful disconnect between what the core gaming community demands and the cold, hard financial reality of what it costs to build games in general, let alone the mega expensive single player games that a lot of you guys say you want. Hell, I want those games a lot of times. But it's the ultimate cognitive dissonance. Gamers expect every major first party release to be this visually groundbreaking 30-hour cinematic masterpiece, but then they riot the second a publisher makes a business move to actually fund that standard, which is becoming an impossible standard. Because look, let me say the number again to be obnoxious about it. And it's a conservative number, $300 million plus. And that, I'm not talking more than that is for GTA 6. I'm talking PlayStation single player. It's conservative. Come on now. A lot of gamers like to act like they're these uniquely targeted victims of corporate greed. But if you look outside games just for 5 seconds, this is the exact same playbook used and ultimately accepted across every major industry. Here's some examples, yeah? Adobe Photoshop Premiere, they killed physical disc and forced every creative who uses their services into a monthly subscription. People screamed and bitched, but now software as a service is the universal standard because most people were fine with it. Airlines, if you remember, it's been a while, but they used to include, if you remember, check bags in the price of your ticket. Then they unbundled it. They said, we're going to charge $35 for you to check a bag. They made billions, and now charging for carry-on is totally normal. Apple removed the headphone jack from the iPhone. You remember? And everybody mocked them. I'm not putting up with that until every single Android maker quietly did the same thing to sell you wireless earbuds. I know this because I just bought some. Finally, broke down, bought some. They're awesome. Look, corporations will always test the customer's boundaries to see what they can get away with in order to make more cash. If the market keeps telling them they're okay with it, if the market keeps buying it, like they've shown they will do with digital games, I'm sorry, but it's true. What it really comes down to is this simple phrase: anti-consumer is usually the temporary phase that exists between outrage and the new normal. And I don't see this being any different. I'm sorry to say it's true, but physical disc is going away. And not because an evil villain in a boardroom hates you and wants to take your toys away and wants to squash your nostalgia, but because $300 million plus games cannot survive without companies cutting out the middlemen to keep more of the cash.
I think that's ultimately it. Have a good night, Ghosty. I think that if games were cheaper, we wouldn't be in the position that we're in right now. Yeah, I've got your DM. I'm going to switch to it in a sec. Have a good night, Ghosty. I think if games were cheaper, we just wouldn't be doing that today, right? And I think that's the real issue here. I just never penned Sony to do it first. Sony Bank received regulatory approval to establish a U.S. National Bank Trust subsidiary to issue its own dollar-denominated digital coin. Wait, so they've got like a Bitcoin? Their own Bitcoin? Primary use case designed to serve as a digital currency for everyday payments and digital content purchases across Sony's ecosystem. The goal to trim credit card transaction fees and streamline purchases for US customers. Oh wow. Regulation is built to comply with the federal requirements for fully backed dollar pegged. Jesus. It is just what Jeffy said. They're cutting all the middlemen out to make as much money as they possibly can. In parallel to the banking initiative, Sony launched Sonium, an Ethereum layer 2 blockchain built on Optimism's OP stack. Powered by crypto infrastructure firm MO, Sony's blockchain partner Startail Group launched this US dollar stablecoin to act as the default payment and reward token on the Sonium network. Yeah, there's going to be no refunds. That's crazy. But what Sony's doing here is exactly what Jeffy's just said. They're cutting out the middleman in everything. They don't want the middleman because the middleman is taking money for something that they don't need to take the money for. They want that money to help them fund those $300 million games. I don't think that's the case with Pitt. I don't think that's the case. I think Sony right now, because of the position and the standing that they're in, I really believe that they feel like they can do anything. I'm seeing people like J-Dub defending all digital. They don't care. They want physicals gone. I'm seeing Puerto Rock pretty much defending all digital. You've got influencers from PlayStation who literally don't care about losing physical games. All of these people give Sony the power and the arrogance they need. They do believe, and to some degree, they're right, that they can do what the hell they want because they've been given that mandate from the community to be able to do it. They could be having the worst month in the world. And then they go, all right, let's just really show them a first party trailer of something. And they go crazy and forget about it. MBG, for all its talking, folded. Like, what more do you want to say? They know that people are going to just revert and be happy with what they've got. And that's the problem. Exactly, Barbos. It's a pretty shitty position to be in, but like I said before, the media and the PlayStation fans is the ones that gave Sony this power, right? I mean, even now, right? Even now, you've got Sony doing all this shit that's going on, right? You've got Sony doing all this shit at the moment, being completely horrible. And you've got Kotaku. This feels gross. What matters the most is that the games are good. And this is a video I was planning on making today, but I'll probably make tomorrow now because I'm just really tired. This is a really contrast, but essentially, instead of like focusing on the shit that's going on with PlayStation at the moment, they're having a pop at Bethesda for announcing a roadmap. Right? They're physically announcing having a pop. You've got all that shit about PlayStation having year-on-year declining consoles, which could, month for month, year on year, I guess it is, decline for this month on consoles and whatnot. June was a great month for Mecha Chameleon. Of course it was. Final Fantasy VII Remake and Xbox, surprisingly. Like, they don't care. They don't care what PlayStation is doing. PlayStation can do whatever they want and they will get away with it. But Xbox, they can't even sneeze without having the media around them trying to just ruin everything. I mean, I'm primarily a digital gamer. except for the Switch, because that has no storage whatsoever. And plus, the only Switch physical games I get are Final Fantasy anyway. It's a thing, right? And more people are going that way. They might be getting, it could be that they're getting the Sony money, but they're crying about all these staff members that are losing their jobs, yet they are primarily responsible with the way they report. Oh, Eve looks too sexy, so we're going to shit on that game and try and get them cancelled. They did the same thing with multiple other games. Some games they were successful with, other games they weren't. But they're constant bashing because you can see someone, a hot character. Like, what the fuck are we even doing at this point? I mean, just look at this headline for Langrisser that they posted, right? It's basically a game like, what is it? What's that unicorn game called? Unicorn Lord? It's the one from Sega, I think. It's the article. Unicorn Overlord. Like, look at this. Look at that headline. New Langrisser Tactics RPG looks like gacha slop that's ripping off Unicorn Overlord because it's got attractive female characters. They want all the characters to be just horrible looking characters. They don't want no sex appeal, no nothing in their games. They just want everything to be, every character to look like a dude, and then they're happy. And then those games don't sell. And when you question their motives and stuff about them being somewhat responsible for people losing their jobs, I know we're not responsible. It's because people aren't buying the games. Yeah, because you're not making games built for them. Like, clearly this is aimed at a certain audience, and it's going to do well. But the title over here is crazy. Like, Kotaku is probably one of the worst when it comes to this. Their level of just shitness is unparalleled. But man, it's crazy. And they, the media definitely harbors a huge part of the blame here. Don't you remember Digital Foundry? How they were shitting on Eve, saying that she's not attractive and that they don't understand how anyone could find Eve attractive. Are you crazy? Are you are you mental? It's like, come on. The whole design of Eve was designed to be literally a plastic doll that you could pretty much dress into anything you wanted. But there's a reason when you look at these gacha games or anime-based games that have the fan service, they sell a lot more. They make way more money. And so you have to question, yes, the gaming industry is suffering with lack of game sales and lack of revenue. But at what point is some of that self-inflicted with their whole DEI, or woke aspirations? Exactly. And they've shown you that, people that are Evie's true age look as young as Evie. I think it was an odd decision to have Evie looking that young, but it's not like, in Korea, there isn't girls that are 20, 22 years old that look young. But yeah, I agree, Power Boss. I would just stop. They should just send me all the codes and stuff, but they won't do that. Nobody hates a pretty woman more than an ugly woman. I mean, that's true. It's true. So, you know, the cost of games and the way the industry is imploded, I feel like it's, it is self-done. A lot of it is self-inflicted. I don't care what anyone says. Fan service sells. You have an attractive female character in your trailers, it's going to get eyeballs on there. Whether they're for good reasons or not, it doesn't matter. It's going to get people talking. It's going to get you think. You're going to get the good PR rather than the bad PR for it. And so it is what it is. Like, I didn't even notice. So I sent Kotaku a tagged tweet telling them, thank you very much for bringing this to my attention. I'm going to get this just because you posted this. Just to piss them off a little bit. I had a buddy with a cystic fibrosis that looked 10 when we were 16, 17. I mean, it happens, man. It happens. But it's just crazy that despite everything going on in, Camp PlayStation right now, the media just doesn't care about it at all. All they care about is Xbox bad. And that's it. I mean, look at this. Respect gave Halo Campaign Evolved a 70. I won't lie. It was great to be playing Halo again when the frame rate wasn't tanking. But it's hard not to feel like the franchise, Xbox, and everyone involved has been severely let down in recent years. We've had one new Halo game, Infinite, since 2015's Halo 5. Xbox has almost imploded due to years of mismanagement that resulted in thousands of employee layoffs, and Microsoft remains on the BD's boycott, divest, sanction list in connection to what a UN commission declared a genocide in Gaza. This is a video game review. We're talking about genocide in Gaza in a video game review. Whereas the original Halo brought with it the promise of a new era for video games. Like, what does layoffs or when they last released the Halo or anything else have anything to do with the review for Campaign Evolved? It's insane. Halo brought a promise with it of a new era for video games. This remake feels like it's in part being developed to make us feel good things about the brands again. I mean, that's literally its purpose. Nostalgia and the realities of today have rarely clashed so heavily. Like, why does Microsoft even send these people review codes if they're not going to review the game based on the actual game? Like, this isn't even cherry picking. If you won't review the game, this actually reminds me of the Hogwarts Legacy review that Kotaku did back in the day, where they gave Hogwarts Legacy a 1 out of 10, and they spoke about J.K. Rowling for the whole review and didn't touch on the game once, not even a single line. Like, it's insane, man. It's insane. And we all know that Hogwarts Legacy didn't get the Game of the Year nomination because Jeff Keighley didn't want the backlash. So they kept it off the list. It's all politics, man, and I think that's the biggest problem that gaming has right now. Take the politics out of video games, and things will start to heal. Let people have true creative vision on how they want to design their games, their characters, and things will start to heal. It's really that simple. Make the games that people want to play. I know that sounds like a shock horror thing, but make the games that people want to play. And don't turn around to your gaming audience and say, hey, we don't care if you don't want to buy our game. In fact, don't buy our game if you don't believe in our beliefs. And so people go, all right, I won't buy it then. And then they start crying that no one, people are anti-woke and all of this. But you said not to buy it. I don't know, folks. It's past midnight. I'm tired. I'm rambling. So I think I'm going to call it there. They can't. They've been brainwashed by universities. Universities are the worst. They're the worst. Like even my kids' school. They tried to teach my kids all this and all that, and I was like, no. They were like, my daughter came to me and goes, Dad, I thought you said there's only 2 genders. And I said, there are. And she goes, well, in my school, they say there's more than 2 genders. And I said, well, that's because they're retarded. There's only 2 genders. And you can tell them that if they tell you that again, that your dad said that they're retarded. They called me and asked me why I told my daughter that. And I said, because you are retarded. There's only 2 genders. And that's it. You're not going to change my opinion on that. If you want to have your opinion, that's fine. But don't teach my kids that. Something that's made up fairy tale. It is what it is, man. They're trying to, indoctrinize that from the young age. Fuck that. I don't care what you identify as. That's up to you. But keep your fairy tales to yourself. Oh, here we go. Let's hear what the third gender is. So we got male and female, and what's the third one? I swear, if you say chaos. Yes and no. I know you're talking about hermaphrodites, but only one of their genitalia work, not both. I don't know what sort of porn you're watching, but both of them don't work. There's only one nerve ending, so I'll leave you to that on your own, buddy. So even they technically are one gender. But anyway, folks, it is past midnight and I am quite shattered after the day I've had. He watches too much. Cool. Oh, Power Boss, you walked into that one. I'm going to be back over at Twitch today for me, tomorrow for you guys in the US. Again, if you're interested in coming and hanging out or just want to simply support the channel and drop a follow so you can get notified when I go live and drop in when you can, that would be greatly appreciated. If you're new to this channel and have enjoyed the show, I know the last week has been pretty dry in terms of news, so we've tried to mix it up a little bit to have something to go on about. So I really hope you've enjoyed those. Do consider leaving a like and subscribe, hitting that bell to stay up to date when I do go live or release videos, which I try to do daily. So yeah, if you happen to support what I do, those are the 2 places. I am on TikTok and of course social media on X, so those links are in the description below. In fact, all links are in the description below. Go drop, support what I do. It really helps. It doesn't cost you anything. The more exposure I can get, the better opportunities I can get and bring you more cool stuff. So hopefully I'll see a bunch more of you there tomorrow. No idea what I'm going to be playing tomorrow, honestly, considering Halo fucked me off and disappointed me. So I'll wait until next week, Tuesday, for that one. But yeah, I need to find a game to play. We'll see. All right, folks. Is another no. No DCG. All right, folks. I'm going to be out. Thanks so much for hanging out. I'll see you in the next one. And who knows? Maybe I may go back on what I said. But until then, have a good night. remain legend.